Hi, welcome back if you've been here before, and if you're brand new, hello, my name is Emma, and I'm going to be telling you all about the books that I read in January. Full disclosure, I have already filmed half of this video, and then I deleted it by accident, and now I'm having to film it again. So I've been trying to film my reviews like as soon as I finish the book so that they're fresh in my mind, which I did for the first 3 books. Forgot that I'd done that, filmed something else, got rid of the footage, and here we are. So we're just starting over. So I'm hoping that I can remember enough about the books, but I'm sure I can. So the first book that I read in January was Emma in the Night by Wendy Walker. So basically these 2 girls are living at home and they go missing one night, and one of them returns home and the other one doesn't. So it is the story of them trying to find out where the other sister has got to. It is like a mystery book, and I don't normally read those, so it went by super fast for me, which is great. I was really into the story because I don't read a lot of mysteries. I wasn't really like jumping to any conclusions and trying to figure it out. I think I had suspicions occasionally, but the twist at the end I just was not ready for, and it was so good. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know if this is because it is an excellent book or it's because it's something different for me, so that is something to bear in mind. But I liked the characters. I don't like a lot of, this is just personal preference, I don't like a lot of police or detectives in the story, and there was a bit of that, but because I don't normally read a mystery, I kind of was able to look past it and just get on with the book. So yeah, that was the first book that I read in January. It was Emma in the Night. The second book I read in January was Hey Zoe by Sarah Crossan. I read this as part of a book club with my friend Stacey. I'll leave a link to her channel down below. And I hated it, honestly, absolutely hated every moment of reading this book. It's 320 pages of nonsense. I just did not like it at all. I gave it a 1 out of 5 stars. So basically, our main character Dolores finds a robot in the garage, and her husband has bought this super duper high-tech AI robot, and she finds it and they just have a conversation about it, and you know, it's kind of the story of that. I didn't like the writing. I felt like it was really scatty. We were like here, there and everywhere all of the time. I think that maybe is how Dolores just is, like a bit scatty and all over the place, but it was really difficult to read in that style. There were a lot of characters, some of them unnecessary. Some of the situations Dolores was in were questionable. Like some of the situations she was in weren't her fault, and that was triggering, but also she put herself in situations that were also questionable. So yeah, I just wasn't a huge fan. I think there were a million trigger warnings needed before you read this book. So yeah, this was definitely the worst book I've read this year, and probably will be. I read a similar book last year about Annie-Bot. I read Annie-Bot last year, and it's similar in that they're both talking about the robots, but Annie-Bot was more about the development of the robot rather than whatever this story was. So I think if you're interested in a story based around a doll or a robot doll, I would go with Annie-Bot rather than Hey Zoe, because I hated it. Book number 3 was Daughter of the Drowned by Kerry Williams. I got this as a NetGalley ARC. So thank you NetGalley, and thank you Kerry Williams and your publishers for letting me read this early. So basically, Lovely, who is our main character, she drowned and died for like however many minutes and then came back, and since she came back she was able to see ghosts or dead people or spirits or whatever. So that's the story. The only thing that got on my nerves a little bit, well, I didn't like 2 cons, and then we'll get into the good things because that's the way I'm doing it. I don't like that she's called Lovely. I don't like the name. I guess that's just preference, but I just don't like it. It reminds me of like when books use like Babe or things like that too much. It felt like that rather than it being an actual name. And they call her Lee for a lot of the book anyway, so I wished her name was just Lee, but that. And also, for some reason, it definitely isn't, but for some reason at the beginning of the book, Lovely and Tino, who is her childhood best friend, I thought they were family. There was a lot of talk of family in that section of the book, and I had to go back and reread to figure out that he is a friend rather than I thought he was a cousin. So there was that. But those are the two negatives. But she goes to New Orleans, and I don't think I've read a book about New Orleans before, so that was interesting. I wish we'd have seen more of like New Orleans, but we did read a little bit about the underworld, which was great. I liked I don't want to give anything away, but I liked the death character, and I liked the people or the characters down on the other side, and I liked the people that she met in New Orleans. It was just an interesting story. I definitely would read the second one. So yeah, I really liked that one. And then finally, I only read 4 books. I started 5, but I only read 4. I read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Loved this one. Gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So basically our main character, Evangeline, she is in love with this boy, Luke, and then all of a sudden he gets married to her stepsister. And she doesn't know why, and she's fuming, and she goes to seek the help of the Fates, which I don't know why remind me of Hercules. I guess the Muses? I don't know. Something Hercules-y is going on there. But she finds this Fate, and he does a deal, and it's all about that. We get to go to this place where fairy tales are told and magic kind of exists, and the Fates have gone there because they're allowed to stay there. They're not allowed to stay wherever Evangeline is from. And there's this story about a hunter and a fox, and Evangeline is called Evangeline Fox. So, you know, and there's prophecies and parties and fancy dresses and books. They talk about books a lot. So yeah, I really liked it. I think it's got a little bit of everything in there. It was very, very interesting, very exciting to read. And considering it is 408 pages, it took me barely any time to read it at all because it was so good. So yeah, out of all of the 4 books that I've read this month, I would recommend Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber and Daughter of the Drowned, definitely. I also started Touch of Malice, which is the 3rd book in Touch of Darkness, which is a Persephone retelling. I'm still reading it, so that's going to have to jump onto my February TBR. I'm not enjoying this one as much as the first 2 for some reason. I think maybe it's because I'm listening to it and I just haven't like settled into it. So if I still can't get into it this month, then I'm going to swap it over to my Kindle and see if I can get on with it a bit better there. So those are all the books I read in January. Let me know if you've read any of the books down below in the comments, or let me know what you're reading now. I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to hit the subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the notification, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.